can you say the Jai Dhani with the microphone? You have the mic. Okay.
Shishi Guru Gauranga Vindarvika Giridhari Radha Vinod Vihari Radha Govinda Ki
Jai.
Kalila Vishnu Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Varva Chacharya Asatira Satashi Shimada Bhai Charana Ravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Kalila Vishnu Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Varva Chacharya Asatira Satashi Shimada Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev Ki Jai. Dali Vishnu Om Vishnupad Astatara Satashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj Ki
Jai.
Dali Vishnu Om Vishnupad Astatara Satashi Srimad Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj Ki Jai. Dali Vishnu Om Vishnupad Astatara Satashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Dali Vishnu Om Vishnupad Astatara Satashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Bhagavad Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Dali Vishnu Om Vishnupad Astatara Satashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj Ki Jai. Dali Vishnu Om Vishnupad Astatara Satashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Shri Gurudev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Dali Vishnu Om Vishnupad Astatara Satashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshala Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Dali Vishnu Om Vishnupad Astatara Satashi Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada Ki Jai. Mahabhagavat Srila Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Sapta Goswami Satchidananda Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Gauri Vedanta Acharya Srila Baladev Vidubhushan Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Rasika Acharya Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Narottam Srinivashananda Prabhu Trai Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Shri Rupa Shri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Shat Goswami Prabhu Ki Shri Srup Damodar Raya Ramanda Shri Gaur Parashad Vrinda Ki Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Sikho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Shri Navadvipam Mayapurdam Gudrun Dvip Ki Ganga Devi Ki Shri Harinama Sankirtan Ki Bhakti Devi Ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopina Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Shri Vrindavandam Ki Juna Devi Ki Shrimati Purnamasi Bhagavati Yogamaya Ki Shrimati Tulasi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Gopishwara Mahadeva Ki Jagannath Baladeva Subhadra Devi Sudarshan Chakra Cheturdam Tata Gopinath Ki Narasingha Bhagavan Ki Bhakti Pravara Prahlad Maharaj Ki Shri Baraha Dev Dvarasi Ki Devoti Vaishnavinda Ki Samagata Bhakta Vinda Ki Shnitai Gaura Prema Hari Hari Bol.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Shreshtam Manamapi Sachiputram Atra Sarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Urupurim Maturim Goshtavatim Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurun Tam Natosmi. He He Shri Guru Gyanada Dina Bandho Swananda Datak Karunaika Sindho Vrindavanasina Itavatara Prasida Radha Pranaya Prachara Amsho Bhagavatosmyaham Sada Dasosmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pekshako Nityam Tat Preshta Shat Karomi Swam Vansha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patita Nam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Nityanandam Namastubhyam Premananda Pradayane Kalo Kalmashanashaya Janava Pataye Namaha. Namo Mahabhadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tishe Namaha. Bande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahodito Gaudodaye Pushpavanto Chitro Shamdo Tamonudo Ajanulambita Pujo Kanakavadato Samkirtanaika Pitaro Kamalaya Taksho Vishwambaro Dvijavaro Jugadharma Palo Bande Jagat Priyakaro Karunavataro Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Brindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Brindai Tulsi Debai Priyai Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivas Adi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. First of all, I offer my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatar Sata Sri Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada. And then I'm offering my same unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipable beloved Siksha Gurudevs Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatar Sata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Asto Tarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I offer my Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Sri Sri Rupa Nuga Gaudiya Guru Varga. And my Dandavat Pranams I'm offering to all the Vaishnavas and all the Vaishnavis. So today is Varaha Dvadashi, and it is the appearance day of Lord Varahadev. We like Lord Varahadev. We have a special relationship with him. You know why? Because Koladvip, our gurus, our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, established Devananda Gaudiya Math on the island of Koladvip. Then Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj also established his mat near there. And then very near to there, our Gurudev established his Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat in Koladvip. And on the altar, both in Devananda Gaudiya Mat and in Gurudev's Mat, is the beautiful deity of Koladev. That means Lord Varaha. So I was reading, I'm just going to briefly summarize because tonight I want to read Srila Sridhar Maharaj's beautiful chapter about Lord Nityananda. But I was reading Srila Bhaktivigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj's short Katha about Lord Varahadev, and he was making the point, he quoted a verse talking about how all the names, forms, qualities, pastimes of the Supreme Lord are completely without any material taint whatsoever. They are fully, fully transcendental. So no matter what form he takes by his sweet will to perform his pastimes, those forms are always all beautiful and all worshipable. So in the material, then he says, in the material world, we generally don't find people worshiping boars. But in this case, the Supreme Lord himself has taken the form of a boar to perform particular activity. And I remember we were with Gurudev in Malaysia once, and he was telling on this day how all of Krishna's forms have particular practical purposes as well, right? And so he took the form of a boar to rescue the earth that had, by the demon Hiranyaksha, been forced into the lower regions and gone into the waters on the bottom of the universe. So why a boar? Because boars have a very long snout and they have a very high sensitivity to sense of smell. And the earth is understood by fragrance, right? Krishna says in what chapter? 9th chapter. I am the fragrance of the earth. So therefore he searched Lord Varaha, and Gurudev, when he was telling, he said, he almost like, you could almost envision the form of Varahadev like diving into the waters, you know. So we know that the Supreme Lord also is the taster of all rasa. Raso Vaisaha. He is the source of all transcendental loving mellows and exchanges of ecstatic love. So whatever he does, in any form that he ever takes on, he's always tasting ras. Yes? He's always tasting, and there are 12 rasas. And one of those rasas is what? Chivalry. Vira ras. I was listening today to a tape of Srila Prabhupada. And actually, he's mentioned it a couple of times. Like the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, I'm listening to the verses of chapter 2, verse 6. It doesn't matter what book or what verse in any part of Prabhupada's books that he's lecturing on, he gives an extraordinary presentation that, like, he ended up talking about the gopis, you know, about in this verse where Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna and saying, Shishyasteham sadimam tvam prapannam. Now I am a soul surrendered to you. Now I'm confused about my duty because of weakness and I don't know what to do. So now I'm surrendering to you. Now I'm your shishya. I'm your disciple. Please instruct me. So the way that Srila Prabhupada gives his lectures are astonishing. Every single time. Astonishing. If you haven't listened very much to Srila Prabhupada's lectures I highly advise you to do that. First of all, they're very understandable for devotees because the accent and all of that. For devotees, no problem. But you will find such wealth in Prabhupada's lectures and so much connection with him by listening to his voice and listening to the sound vibration that's coming from him, all of his moods, everything, you know. So, I lost my point.
So he was bringing chip to the gopis from talking.
Yeah, but that's still a secondary point. Yeah, rasa. So Prabhupada was explaining, because there's a lot of persons, I mean, throughout time that say, no more war, no more. We're going to have peace now. And it has happened. It has happened periodically in history, the Vedic histories, when there are great Kshatriya kings. But it is only by fighting that peace is maintained. Just like the Pandavas. No, because if someone wants to disturb that and they don't want to live according to the rules and regulations of the human laws for mankind, they want to cause so much destruction and pain and suffering to others, the Kshatriyas are responsible. That's their number one responsibility and duty, to protect the citizens, you see. So the kings of ancient India, who were Rajarshis, they're not ordinary warriors. They're saints. Raja, Rishi, saints. So their number one duty, that's why the whole Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada's lectures, when you hear them, he's talking all about this again and again in all the different verses, how this is Arjuna's duty and he must do it for Krishna, even if your own guru is on the opposite side. Still you have to fight. So, but the point is that Prabhupada was saying, this is an absurd proposal that there will be no more fighting. There will be no more war. Why? Because it is the symptom within the soul himself. If a living entity, an eternal conscious part and parcel of Krishna, who has partially the qualities of Krishna, and Krishna has this tendency, chivalry, it's a rasa, particular rasa, you see? That's why there is competition in sports, martial arts, all of this, all throughout time. In the ancient times, they had wrestlers, and it's a sport, and it's enjoyable, right? And he said, like, if you put two children together, within a very short time, and I see it every day here, when they come out for recess, they're just competing with one another, and fighting and wrestling and everything. And a few moments later, they're friends and they're, right? Yes. So, it cannot be taken away. So, Krishna also has a desire to fight. And I'm not going to go into too much extensive history, but we all know that Jai and Vijay in Vaikuntha, the doorkeepers there was a desire that they noticed within their Lord, Narayan, because the servant of the great servant of the great master can detect anything, all of his moods. And they detected, our master, he wants to fight. And we can fight with him, but it will be more like pretend fight. To actually fight, we'll have to become averse to him, you know? Like even in, like, you know, professional boxing and all that, they always play it all up, right? And they look at each other, you know? Because there has to be this element there. Otherwise, it's not real. So they detected, yes, our Lord, he has a strong desire to fight. So because Yoga Maya, Krishna's transcendental potency, came into their heart and their mind and inspired them in that way. And then what happened? Yoga Maya arranged everything, that the four Kumaras came there to the gate and they were stopped by Jai and Vijay. And then inside of their heart, they also became upset and angry because they were stopped, and generally they wouldn't do like that, but Yogamaya inspired that. So they cursed the gatekeepers. And then Lord Narayan immediately came there with Lakshmi Devi, and then there was a settlement. Okay, you'll go to the material world for 3 births, and you'll have to become demons. So those eternal associates of the Lord came in the form of 3 consecutive births and became who? First birth was? Second? No, that's the third. Ravana and Kumbhakarna. And then Dantavakra and Shishupal. Right. And in each birth, Krishna, in a particular form, he fought with them very valiantly. And these great epic wars, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all of these, this is the need for the human society to hear about these righteous battles for upholding, the highest principles in the universe. So when Krishna comes, he says, I come mainly because of 2 reasons. What is that? Paritranaya sadhunam, vinashaya cha duskritam. Paritranaya means to deliver my devotees, sadhus. And vinashaya cha duskritam, to destroy the miscreants. So Hiranyaksha was the first brother. The second brother is Hiranyakashipu, and we know a lot about Hiranyakashipu because that's one of our favorite stories. Lord Nrsingadev can confirm that on the altar. And Prahlad Maharaj, how he came to save his pure devotee, you see. So the Lord is always relishing and tasting rasa, and in those incarnations, not only does he deliver his devotees and destroy the miscreants, but he also establishes dharma. Because there is an upset. Just like when Hiranyakashipu, he kicked out even Indradev from his planet. He was so powerful, right? You're dealing with the eternal associate of the Lord, so he becomes very, very powerful, And these were not small little demons. Ravana, Kumbhakarna, oof. But from the first demon, they were the most powerful. Then they diminished a little bit. Yes. Because one time, Srila Sridhar Maharaj told the story that Ravana was surveying the earth. And he was looking for more and more gold. Because he wanted to bring gold to where? Lanka. Everything there is golden. And he was so greedy to get so much gold. So then, he came upon, it looked like a golden mountain. Like a huge hill made of gold. So he thought, oh, this is very good. I'll bring this mountain back to my kingdom. And he's very powerful, Ravana. So he tried to lift it. And he tried and tried and tried. He couldn't. So then his guru was there, I forget the name, who was advising him, and he said, actually, you know what this golden hill is? This is the earring of Hiranyakashipu. You never heard that? Srila Sridhar Maharaj told him. Yeah. And how big was Lord Varaha Dev to fight against Hiranyaksha, his brother, that was also huge, gigantic. How big was he? When Lord Varaha Dev, how did he manifest?
Out of the
nostril. Out of the nostril of who? Lord Brahma. And he was? Like what?
The size of the tip of the thumb.
Right. And he just went into the sky and he started to grow. And he grew and grew and grew and grew. Became very huge. You have to be pretty huge to be able to lift the whole earth. Okay? Whether the earth is flat or round, doesn't matter. You still got to be very huge to lift it. So, in this way, Lord Varahadev came, saved the earth, and Lord Varahadev is extremely worshipable. You know, that's why he's on the altar. And he is the representation of all yajna. He is the pure representation of yajna. There's also two deities in Mathura, kind of amazing. The Adi Varaha deity. You know who that deity used to be with? First he was worshipped by Brahma, then that's after.
Ravana stole.
Yeah, Ravana stole. Right, and then when Ram conquered Ravana, they took that deity to Ayodhya. And then there was the Madhu demon. Was it the Madhu demon? In Mathura. That he was ordered by Lord Ram to go and kill that demon. Shatrughna, yes, his younger brother. So Shatrughna asked him, please give me the Varahadev, the Adi Varahadev deity. And he brought it with him because the deity is so powerful and auspicious. And that deity is on one of the little side alleyways of Mathura. The Adi Varaha deity. And then there's a Shveta Varaha deity because Varahadev appears in different millenniums. And sometimes he's also white or golden color. So that deity is also there, maybe a couple 100 meters away from the Adi Varaha. Mathura is a very amazing place. Yeah.
Maharaj, is he original, like what we know him as, he's red, right?
What?
Is he red, what we know him as?
The deity, the Adi Varaha deity?
Yeah.
He looks reddish in the picture. Yeah, yeah.
Because I know
Yeah.
Lord...
That's right. Yes, in the paintings also he's reddish. Correct. You are correct. So the Shveta Varaha deity is more white color. Yes, so we like Lord Varahadev very much because otherwise we wouldn't have an earth planet to live on. So he rescued the entire earth and brought it back up, and he, by his mystic potency, he made it again to be able to float. All right, so all glories to Lord Varahadev on his transcendental appearance day. Ki Jai. So now we're going to read this very ecstatic presentation. Last night we read a shorter one from the Search for Sri Krishna Reality, the Beautiful, but this was actually suggested by Braj Prabhu, right? He suggested to read that, and I thought, very good idea. So then also Premai suggested, oh, you know, but we could also read about him in Golden Volcano of Divine Love. So on my iPad, somehow it wasn't working. And then she ran up and got the book. So we have the book to read. Okay. Lord Nityananda Ki Jai. Actually, tomorrow, whatever timing we have, I want to read from Chaitanya Charitamrita, the 5th chapter, which is also so wonderful and tells all the Tattva Siddhanta of Lord Nityananda and his expansion as Mahasankarshan and expansion of expansion of expansion. That's a very important Siddhanta for us to know. Baladev Tattva. So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he begins by saying, although it is the duty of justice to seek qualifications, mercy has no such limits. Justice is always based upon right and wrong, but mercy, it has no such limits. Divine mercy does not care for any qualifications, but it is always ready to compensate the weak and unfit. Only one thing is required: our sincere eagerness to receive mercy. How do you receive mercy? Only one thing is required: our sincere what?
Eagerness.
Yes, sincere eagerness to receive mercy. So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is said, Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati kriyatam api kutopi labhyate tatra lolyam api mulyam ekalam janmakoti sukritayar nalabhyate. The translation is, pure devotional service to Krishna cannot be obtained by performing pious activities even for millions of births. It can be purchased only by paying one price, intense eagerness. Wherever it is available, one must purchase it immediately. So no qualifications from one's previous life will help one to attain Krishna consciousness. Only eagerness and faith are important. So this is, of course, pertaining to Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. What's the meaning? You know. Give the mic to Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati.
Krishna Bhakti Rasa, wherever it's available, one should immediately...
But what is it? What is Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati? Srila Prabhupada told this verse is where he got the name of his International Society for Krishna Consciousness from, this verse, which is spoken by Ramananda Roy to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and it's telling about this stage wherein intense greed will come to experience Krishna consciousness, which is called Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. What is the meaning of that line? Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. Mati means intelligence. And Bhavita means overwhelming moods of doing what? Relishing and tasting Krishna Bhakti Rasa. Krishna consciousness, the term Krishna consciousness, came from this verse. Prabhupada told that. So, Krishna, we say Krishna consciousness, but this is very much more detailed and elaborate explanation. What is this Krishna consciousness? It means this tendency to be absorbed and relishing and immersed and tasting Krishna Bhakti Rasa. So, here in the verse, it's telling that this is not possible to attain. This Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati is not possible to attain by someone who has even koti, janma koti, millions of lives of what? Sukriti. What is Sukriti? What is Sukriti?
Pious works.
Yeah, pious works. But Sukriti is not bhakti. Sukriti helps one to come towards bhakti, but Sukriti in itself cannot award this Krishna consciousness, this Krishna Bhakti Rasa Bhavita Mati. A very high qualification for that. What is that high qualification? Tatra lolyam.
Greed.
Yes. Apimulyam ekalam. It is the only price that can be paid to attain this, is greed, lolyam. And janma koti sukrita nalabhyate. It cannot be obtained. Nalabhyate. It cannot be obtained by millions of lives of Sukriti. So, why is Srila Sridhar Maharaj citing this in relation to this principle of mercy? Because mercy is also available simply by one's intense eagerness to have it. He's beginning like that. No qualifications from one's previous life will help one to attain Krishna consciousness. Only eagerness and faith are important. Eagerness and faith. And what is the effect of Krishna consciousness? If one gets this Krishna consciousness, what's the effect? Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshaya kshiyante chasya karmani mai drishte akilatmani.
The knots of the heart are untied.
Yes. Vidyate hridaya grantis. 3 things. So he's saying, our inner aspiration for rasa, ecstasy, it is buried in the heart. And the heart is tied down and sealed. But hearing and chanting the glories of Krishna, this breaks the seal of the heart. And the heart awakens and opens to receive Krishna, the reservoir of pleasure, ecstasy himself. Would you like to meet that person who is ecstasy himself? Raso vaisaha akil rasamritamurti. So the next section is titled, The Heart Wants Ecstasy. The heart wants ecstasy. Our heart's concern is with ecstasy, charm, and sweetness. That's our heart's concern. All the poetry, all the dramatic performance, everything in human culture is meant for this, isn't it? Huh? And this is felt by the heart, not by the brain. So the heart has been given the most importance. The next effect is felt in the plane of knowledge. After getting a taste of divine sweetness, suspicion vanishes. Suspicion. When there's a taste of divine sweetness, then suspicion, it vanishes. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Prabhupada disciples know that one. That's that verse from Gita. Param drishtva nivartate. What is that? Yes. If someone has a param drishtva, which means a higher taste, automatically the lower taste will be subdued. So, when we have a taste of real ecstasy, rasa, then all doubts are cleared. By getting a taste of Krishna consciousness, the heart is captured. And when the heart is captured, then the ecstasy of love of Godhead, prem, begins to flow. Being satisfied, the heart will say, this is what I was searching for. And then the brain will follow, thinking, yes, there can be no doubt. This is the highest goal of our search. Dissolve everything else. The heart will say, I have attained prem, divine love. This is the highest thing. Stop all works from now on. Then karma will close all its workshops. And after coming in touch with Krishna consciousness, the first result is that the heart awakens. And when the heart is captured, the brain approves. And our karma, our energizing in the wrong direction, it stops. Krishna consciousness is the real wealth of the heart. It is the nature of divine mercy to extend itself without caring for any law. The only consideration is our eagerness to accept it. Mercy is offered in this way. Do you want this? If we simply agree, yes, it is wonderful and most tasteful, then we can have it. Is that not simple? Mercy is offered in this way. Do you want this? If we simply agree, yes, it is wonderful and most tasteful, then we can have it. If our prayer is genuine, then nothing else is required. It is a simple transaction. If we want it, we will get it. Krishna consciousness is most simple. Whether one is fit or unfit is unimportant. Anyone who simply wants it may have it. And what of those who don't want this divine gift? For them, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed special mercy through his most magnanimous canvassing agent, Sripad Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu won't allow even those who want to avoid Krishna consciousness to escape. If someone says, I don't want it, Nityananda Prabhu, he won't allow it. He will say, no, you must want it. I request you, earnestly take it. Use it, and you will be able to feel the value of Krishna consciousness. Isn't that how Lord Nityananda, Shakti Avesh personality, captured us? Isn't it? Yeah? We were probably not even looking for it. But Nityananda has his ways. So, to capture the market, a clever merchant, he may distribute free samples of his product to his customers, saying, take one free. There is no question of paying any price now. I am giving them away. Use it. And if you feel the value, the utility of my product, buy it. And then afterwards, everyone will purchase. Have we not seen that technique of merchants? Huh? They call it a lost leader. I remember I was in Singapore and there were so many shops and shops. But right in the front, they have a lot of their goods on the sidewalk in front of their shop. But then they have like one or two little items that you can have practically for free, you know. And those are called lost leaders. They don't make anything on that, but they lead you into the shop. And then you purchase. Now, the next section is titled, Please Accept Gauranga. In a similar way, Nityananda Prabhu traveled throughout Bengal, making his humble appeal. Nityananda Prabhu would knock at the door and fall at the feet of his customers, crying, please accept this. Don't dismiss me. Don't drive me away. Please do what I say. Give all your attention to Gauranga, and you will be benefited beyond expectation. This is my request to you. He would shed tears. He would roll at their door and say, you are reluctant to accept this, but have no doubts. I implore you, take it. Believe me. Please accept Gauranga. In this way, Nityananda Prabhu he used to wander down both sides of the Ganga, roaming here and there and preaching about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda Prabhu knows only Gauranga. He is represented in Krishna Lila as Baladev. Baladev apparently performed the Ras Lila, but at heart he was only arranging Ras Lila for Krishna. You know that. Baladev performed Ras Lila, but in his heart he was only arranging Ras Lila for Krishna. His nature shows the experts of devotion that he is always dedicated to Krishna. Otherwise, he would not be Baladev. He has no individual thoughts for his own enjoyment. Every atom of his body is always eager to make arrangements for the enjoyment of Krishna. In a similar way, every atom of the body of Nityananda Prabhu is conscious transcendental substance, and every atom of his body is meant only for the service and satisfaction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One day, Mahaprabhu's mother, Sachi Devi, had a dream. We heard this also yesterday. That Krishna and Balaram were on a throne, and Nityananda Prabhu was addressing Baladev. Come down from your throne. Your days are over. Now my Lord Gauranga will be installed. Then Baladev refused. No, I have my Lord, Krishna. There was a fight, but Nityananda Prabhu was stronger, and he took Baladev down from the throne, saying, your day has gone. Now the time for my master, Gauranga, has come. You are a trespasser, a usurper. You must come down. And Baladev could not defeat Nityananda, who took him down from the throne. His mother Sachi had this dream. So this is the nature of Nityananda Prabhu's relationship with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He has nothing of his own. His everything is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As Baladev is to Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu is to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The aim of Srimad Mahaprabhu's descent was to distribute the devotional service of Vrindavan most generously. On the other hand, Nityananda Prabhu, he used to sing, Bhaja Gauranga, Kaha Gauranga, Laha Gauranger Nam, Jai Jana Gauranga Bhaje Se Amar Pran. This means, as he was going on the pathways here, there, he would sing this song. He just worship Gauranga and speak of Gauranga, chant Gauranga's name. Whoever worships Sri Gauranga is my life and soul. Say, Amar Pran Re. He is my pran. Nityananda Prabhu tried his best to make the people at large accept Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What did he say? Come straight to the campaign of Sri Chaitanya and you will safely attain Vrindavan. Of course, Mahaprabhu, the abode of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whose phone is that? Just find it and turn it off, please. Thank you. Of course, Navadvip, the abode of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is no less valuable than Vrindavan, the abode of Krishna. The same rasa which is found in Vrindavan is present in another feature in Navadvip. Some devotees have a special attraction for Vrindavan Leela, And others have a special attraction for Navadvip Leela. And a third group represents both camps. But Navadvip is the most generous. In Vrindavan, the pastimes of Krishna are confined to a confidential circle. But in Navadvip, those pastimes are distributed. Gaur Leela is more generous than Krishna Leela. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 25, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami explains his conception of the difference between Gaur Leela and Krishna Leela. This is a very famous verse. Krishna Leela Amritasar, Tar Shata Shata Dar, Dasha Dike Vahe Jata Jata Hoite, Se Chaitanya Leela Hoy, Saravara Akshay, Manohangsa Charaha Tahate. He says, there is no doubt that we find the highest nectarine taste of rasa in Krishna Leela. Krishna Leela Amritasar. It is the essence of all nectar, right? But what is Gaur Leela? In Gaur Leela, the nectar of Krishna Leela is not confined to a limited circle, but it is being distributed on all sides. It is just as if from all 10 sides of the nectarine lake of Krishna Leela, hundreds of streams are flowing. That's the translation of that verse. Dasha dike vahe jaha hoite. So many streams of nectar are flowing in Gaur Leela. Our highest aspiration is to achieve the service of Srimati Radharani. But in the beginning, we must approach Sri Nityananda Prabhu through his manifest representation, the Guru. Nityananda Prabhu consolidates the foundation which helps us progress further in devotion. Quick progress without a good foundation, it invites a negative reaction. So the mercy of Nityananda Prabhu is our primary necessity. This approach culminates in the service of Srimati Radharani. Nitayer karuna habe, Braje Radha Krishna pabe. What song is that from? Yes, Nitai Padakamanam. Yesterday we read one of the earlier verses where unless you have Nitai's mercy, you can't get the mercy of Krishna, Radha and Krishna. But this, But this verse is quoted at the end of that song, and he's saying, Nitayer karuna habe, Braje Radha Krishna pabe. If you attain the karuna, the mercy of Nitai, then you will attain Radha and Krishna in Braj. To be reinstated as a servant of the servant to the extreme degree is the philosophy of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. Our goal is not to become one with Krishna, to receive service. We want to render service. The predominated moiety of the Absolute Truth is the negative potency, the energy that serves, and the predominating moiety receives that service. So our best interest will be reached when, according to our constitutional nature, we attain our position in the line of servitors in the negative predominated moiety, not by considering ourselves one with the positive predominating moiety. And now this is the last thing. By the grace of Nityananda Prabhu, we develop our attraction for Sri Gauranga. If we receive the grace of Sri Gauranga, we receive everything in the highest degree. And that is the safest way to approach Radha Govinda. If we try to achieve Radha Govinda in some other way, our attempt will naturally be artificial and defective. If we approach Radha Govinda directly, avoiding Sri Gauranga, there will be great difficulty. So it will continue tomorrow. We'll finish this article and we'll hear more about the glories of Lord Nityananda Prabhu tomorrow. Such auspicious day. People and devotees and guests have come from very many different directions. So we're looking forward to an amazing festival tomorrow, and all the devotees will be tasting so much mercy being poured on everyone's head from Lord Nityananda. Gaur Premanandi. Vansha Kalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vedacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Starts at 10:30 with Kirtan tomorrow.